Hey everybody, welcome back to Trial and Error. If you remember, relatively recently I just put a ton of work back into this theater, had a burst pipe, so I had to pull a bunch of stuff out while I was in there, did a projector upgrade, upgraded to 17.700 channels of THX sound and a new subwoofer and a few other things. Well, that happened because it was really 10 years old. And along with that, when I built the theater, I kind of started piecing together our whole home audio system, which is both indoor and a pretty large outdoor sound system. All comes down to this rack and is powered here. Well, the technology in this now is just as old, and there's a few things I wanted to upgrade. And I guess what's really kicked this one off is I've always used Sonos as kind of the base to control the audio here, and recently the Sonos app has been giving me some problems, and I know there's newer stuff out there that's a lot less expensive than Sonos is and gives you much more flexibility. So I started doing some research, and I'll show you what I ended up coming up with. So let me make one thing clear. I did not get this equipment for free. This is not a sponsored video. I didn't get it for a discount or anything special. I just did a lot of research and found a lot of good feedback, and I really like the feature set on these products. So the company's called WiiM. I got a WiiM Pro, actually I got two WiiM Pros and then a WiiM amp to give a try to here. And I'll show you why I like them and why I decided to do this versus something like Sonos, besides spending way less money on this equipment. Here is one of the Pros. Nice and small, very similar to the Sonos Connects that I use to run the audio system here. But a couple of things that I really liked about it is your inputs and your outputs. A lot more options here, and then most importantly, this tiny little hole right there. That is a trigger out, and what that allows you to do, again, unlike the Sonos, is I can now use that trigger to fire up my amps automatically when this calls for it. So the way it's set up right now, well, I'll show you. The way it's set up right now is I've got a Sonos here. I've also got one out in the garage, but they kind of run independently, and what happens is I utilize my home automation to trigger the turn on the amps, the audio processors, because there's really no EQ on Sonos either. So if you want to EQ by zone, all you get is bass and treble with that, which is kind of useless. So I have filters through an EQ, through another audio processor to bring some warmth to the music. Then it goes into the amplifiers, and all of that stuff is turned on, you know, manually, essentially, where I have to either turn it on my phone or I have to talk to Alexa and tell her what to do. So that's been fine. I mean, we've been doing that for 10 years and it's okay, but it's not great. It's not the seamless thing of just pulling out your phone, press and play, and having everything come on that's supposed to, and then when you stop, having it all shut off. So really looking forward to that upgrade. The other thing that's nice about the WiiM is it comes with a remote, and it's an RF remote, so you can through walls or whatever. Pretty cool feature. It's not going to do much for me here, the way we have it set up, I don't think, but maybe as I use it, you know, maybe keep one of these out by the bar and stuff. It might come in handy, I don't know, we'll see. But it comes with it, so that's cool. Now I know what you're saying. Well, how are we going to trigger these amps to turn on and off? It's great that the Wii thing has a auxiliary out or a trigger out, but none of this stuff does. And to be fair, it actually could. You can replace these back panels. They make one with triggers on them, but we're not going to go through the effort or expense of that. I just grabbed myself some 2.5 millimeter connections, just a mono connection because that's all that's on there. And then a solid state relay. Now, I've never actually used a solid state relay. I've always just used the normal mechanical style with an actual relay in it. And I don't know why I decided to switch to it for this project, but maybe it's because they were the first thing on my Amazon page. I don't know, but I'm gonna give these solid state relays a chance or a try with this setup. 40 amp relay, no moving parts. So kind of like I'm guessing a MOSFET type switch that controls it. So we'll see how these go. So I got a couple of these to trigger a couple of these. The obvious question now is, why did I buy the one with the amp in it as well? Well, the outdoor system we have, when I first set it up, I set everything on the outdoors up, with the exception of the outdoor speakers that run off the garage, as its own zone. And after living with it for 10 years, I really wished that I had a separate zone for the front deck versus the back deck, the pool area, and all of that stuff. So rather than buy another amp, it's much cheaper, especially because we're only going to be driving two speakers that are on my front deck, just to throw one of these guys on there with its own amplifier, and I can break that zone out to just do its own zone on the front deck. Because right now, if I go out there and listen, like I'll come home from work, sit on the front deck because that's where the sun sets, and just want to listen to some music, but I end up firing up, you know, music all the way around the house. That is kind of unnecessary. And sometimes I really just want to crank it up on the front deck. And if I crank the whole system up, it echoes through the hills here. So this will be a nice way to just run that single zone without having to do a whole bunch of changing with amplifiers and all that stuff, because it's built right in. So because we have all this equipment, it's not all going to fit here anymore, and I don't need a lot of this stuff, or I won't need a lot of this stuff anymore. I picked up a couple of rack shelves that I can put in and put all this equipment on, so that's the only other thing I grabbed. So I guess all that's left now is to get in here, start snipping zip ties and pulling cables and tugging my Puda. So we'll get to that. You know, as ridiculous as it is to put a racking system in your wall, it's really freaking convenient, because here we are like 10, 12 years later and we're still able to like finagle and move things, and everything's universal. It's really nice. See, these guys went to the school of Apple for packaging. Wow, nice packaging though. Look at that. Oh, very nice looking. It definitely feels like premium. Oh, little tank. Nice gold-plated binding posts here, banana plugs or whatever you want to call them. Audio in, subwoofer out, very cool. USB, LAN, HDMI, ARC, so you can just grab the audio off your HDMI lines. Power, remote. That's probably why they named it Power Remote. I'm gonna take a stab in the dark here and bet you that there's HDMI, RCA, and maybe some optical cables in this one, but oh, look at that. That's what it is. You can tell that the new 3000 watt amp feeding the subwoofers, I've gotten a little bit better with my connectors over the last 10 years. So we're going to redo these as well, clean them up a little bit. You got to separate these two out because these are the outdoor amps, and these two lines go to the front deck speakers. The white line goes out to the rest. So we'll bring that down here, tie it in with this new amp, and then make our low level new connection harness for all these lower level connections. Just made myself up some nice new cables. Took a old set of monster cables and just cut them up, put our little ends on there. Should be ready to roll here. I actually also did this as well because this isn't the best cable feeding that subwoofer channel from the receiver, so I'm going to upgrade it all over to this stuff while we're in here. Done whipped me up a nice little setup here. So power comes in, and basically this is the trigger side of the relay. So we've got the two trigger wires going in to trigger the relays, and then we just break the hut on both sides. We've got two lines that go up to feed both outdoor amps, and one line that will go up to feed the indoor amps. And I mounted it all to basically a piece of aluminum to act as a heatsink as well. So I think that'll work out really nice, and now we just gotta find a nice way to get it in here. So now with any luck, when I go and turn on, I've only got one of these set up right now, but when I go and turn this on the house, and I select music, I don't know if you saw that. Get the Vex. Oh, yeah, it's definitely working. Oh, that's awesome. There we go. We are all wired up, ready to rock and roll. I did end up direct connecting all of these to the Wi-Fi via Ethernet. Each of these does have wireless Ethernet or wireless Wi-Fi, Jesus, built in. But whenever you can go with a wired connection, you go with a wired connection. It's just more dependable, and it takes some load off your wireless network, which is never a bad thing. And since our wireless network is in here anyway, just made sense. So ready to rock. Let's take a look at the front. You know, just when you think you ordered everything you needed, here we are a day or two later. Oh, I like those. Are pretty. I like these much better. They go well with the crown amps, the way they're cut out. I believe that looks rather fetching. Automatic controls are working great. I just tap, boom, kicks on the appropriate amps. I've already got the outdoor amps going, but those will kick off. So it's set right now that after a minute or so of the music being on pause, it'll shut the amps down, so you can just walk away. You don't have to do anything. Now the big question is, how is the app? Because the app experience is really what you're interfacing with on a regular basis. I don't come down here and look at this stuff. I won't ever really touch it. I've got the remotes down here. I'll never probably use them because everything's on the app. So here's our app. So right now I've got these 3 units set up. So we have front deck speakers. That is the one with the amp built in. That's the zone I broke out. We have the house speakers. So that is this one, I think. That is running this CT600. And then we have the pool speakers, which is this one, which is running the dual CT600s and another subwoofer amplifier in the back for the outdoor subwoofers, because everybody's got to have outdoor subwoofers. When I want to listen to some music, I literally just pick the room I want to listen to it in. If I want it to broadcast throughout everything, hit that little link button here, and then I can just select which zones. Oh, it just timed out and shut off the amp. Select which zones I want to share all the music with. Super easy in that sense. But we'll go with the house speakers for right now. So we will tap on that and then just hit the browse button. And then from here, this is completely customizable. I've got the ones that I use most, which is Amazon Music, Pandora, Spotify. And then I also have Alexa in here because I can command these on just by talking to Alexa as well. But we'll go to Amazon Music. If I hit Amazon Music, we'll just go to Prime Stations, and I can pick Country Heat Radio, hit the button, just saw it kicked on the amps, or the amp for the house speakers. Fades right in, volume up and down. The app itself, extremely responsive, very, very quick. As we talked about, it has a nice DAC built into the system. So I can go into my EQ, I can adjust it manually, as you can see I've done there. You can label and add a bunch of EQs. It comes with a bunch built in, but you can also go to a parametric EQ, which lets you really smooth out all of those variances. This is the stuff that I had all that equipment for before, because Sonos doesn't have this already built into the system. Sound quality, phenomenal. Obviously, I can't demo that for you from copyright reasons, but also because, I mean, you're recording it through a camera and then you're playing it back on whatever. It's not going to sound great anyway. But it is excellent sound quality, and that's for all 3 of these. They did a really nice job on the amplification side. So I installed all of this basically on Friday night, Saturday morning, so I was using it all weekend. It's now Tuesday, so I used it again last night, sitting out on the front deck, listening to some tunes. Been rock stable. Love the sound quality. App is perfect. I wouldn't say it's any better than Sonos in terms of response time or anything, but it's equal to Sonos, and that's really all I would ever hope for, because the price point's less than half. So that's been really stable. Love the sound quality. Again, love the customization of it. Love that it natively works with voice commands which is something, again, at least my Sonos system never did. So I'm gonna use the hell out of this. I listen to a lot of music. It's a big part of my life. So if this thing, for whatever reason, doesn't perform as expected, I'll make sure to keep you up to date on that, but I don't think it will. They've really made a nice line of equipment here. So I'll throw the links down in the description if you're interested in this stuff. I'd appreciate you using them. Again, this wasn't a sponsored thing, so I'm just sharing you my experience of it. Any questions beyond that, concerns, criticisms, throw them down in the comment section below me. Otherwise, everybody, thanks for watching again and have a great day.